I'm Suzanne. In today's video, we're going to paint a male goldfinch in some thistle. And this is the piece that we're going to do. And I'm going to take you step by step from my very early sketch that I did of the bird in the thistle and show you the colors. I will go over the palette, we'll go over how I block everything in, and then take it to the finality with all the fine, fun detail. I hope you want to paint along, and if you do, you can stop and start this video as much as you need to. And if you have any questions about anything I covered in today's video, please leave it in the comment section and I'll get to you. I'll be glad to do that. And know also that this is going to be the second piece that we're going to use for the upcoming 3-day wildlife painting workshop called Birds and Botanicals, and that is October 7th, 8th, and 9th this year here in Kingsport, Tennessee. It's a live 3-day workshop, and we always have a good time. It's only open to 15 painters, and right now I think we've got about 9, so there's still room, and we'd love to have you come paint with us. So consider that. You can find the details for the workshop in the description of this video, and you can also go to my website at sbjfineart.com, and there you can actually go to the menu and find the place that says workshop and find out even more details there. So let's go ahead and jump in to this lovely little painting of the goldfinch in the thistle. And here's the little sketch that I started off with, and away we go. Here is our palette. Now let me see if I can remember what the colors are. I've kind of divided it up into some quadrants here, or just, I have cobalt blue, cerulean blue, titanium white. This is my sky. Obviously over here are my goldfinch colors. I have cad yellow light, French yellow ochre, yellow lake, deep. This is Michael Harding. I've got Italian green umber, also Michael Harding. This is called Celadon Deep. It's by Charvine. Ivory black. I have raw umber. That's a Michael Harding. This is Winsor Newton. I have Winsor Newton Dioxazine purple. I have permanent magenta and magenta Michael Harding, and more titanium white. I have Caribbean turquoise, Michael Harding. I have cad green, Winsor Newton. And I have chromite green, and I think this is chromite green. And this is, which green is that one? I'll get to you. I'll let you know here in a minute. But this is our starting lineup for our little goldfinch piece, and with a thistle. And so you can see, like, these are going to be the thistle colors. So I'm trying to divide this up into areas that will make sense when I'm actually doing the application on the surface. I'm starting by putting in the sky. I'm blocking in all around the actual thistle and bird. And I'm putting in cobalt blue up at the top of the sky. And as I work my way down through the sky, mixing in cerulean as I get closer to the horizon line. So you can see that transition between the cobalt blue and the cerulean. And if you really do observe skies, you'll always notice that there is kind of a transition from the colors as you drop your eye to the horizon. So I'm just kind of blocking it in, even the sky's being blocked in, but then I'll use a nice soft brush to kind of blend everything in a little bit. But I'm just kind of getting everything in there and just starting to see the shape. So I'm diving right into the bird by using the cadmium yellow light, mixing a little white so that the area of the bird's breast that stands out the furthest will be a little darker, or a little brighter, I should say. Now I'm going in with this green. I'm using the Celadon green paint and a little Italian green umber, and you can see I'm just making that transition because, of course,
the yellow on a bird in the shadow will sometimes have a green appearance. So I'm kind of stacking my color here to create the shape of this bird. Where I'm needing a little bit of a darker or more intense yellow, I'm actually using Yellow Lake, which is just a tad deeper than the Cad Yellow Light. And so you can see that there's differences in the yellows that's on this bird. I'm also using the cooler yellow ochre to create some of the shadows, like right under the bird's lower mandible. So I'm using a smaller brush. This happens to be a Eclipse pointed round. It's I think it's a 0. And I am just going to go ahead and put this bill in, and it's a very flesh tone, type of bill color that I used made by using a little bit of, it was the Italian brown umber, white, and a little bit of magenta is the color that I made the bill with. And I'm just kind of setting everything in. And this is a nifty little brush because it does get into all the tight places that I need it to get in. But I'm very, I always am very careful about what my bills look like, since that's part of what makes every bird species unique, is the shape of their bill based on what they eat. And since this is a little goldfinch, this bird likes to eat a lot of seeds, including thistle seeds. Still using that same little brush, I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of the black that is in the front of this bird's face and on his wing. And I am using ivory black and the same little pointed round Eclipse 0 brush here. And, I have to be careful because I really am watching the contour or the shape of this bird's head. And I do kind of alter the height of the crown on this bird just a tad. But I'm going to pop in all that kind of good color and detail. And so I'm constantly I'm adjusting. I'm adjusting what from my normal, the sketch that I had initially done. I could see, ooh, his crown of his head's a little higher. Ooh, I need to do this, need to do that. Nothing unusual for me to keep morphing on a painting. Using a combination of yellow lake and yellow ochre, I'm using this darker color to kind of put in the cooler areas or the darker areas on this bird's face. And I'm still using that fun little brush. But this is where I get to stack feathers on top of feathers. So I have to have a base, a darker base, to be able to put the lighter feathers on top. And, I had mentioned morphing earlier. Yeah, this bird's head needs to come out a little bit more. So you're going to see how I'm going to keep pulling it out towards the nape of this bird's neck. And then I have to roll the back a little bit more. So you see I'm morphing all over the place because that's what I do. As we move along, I've got to put these wings in, and they do have a black wing with some little white shelling or bars on their wings. So I've got to pop that in there. And I end up lengthening the back in a little while, you'll see, as I continue to morph and elongate the tail, because I had made the head a little too big, so I've got to catch the body up to make the proportions correct. So I just keep moving along. I just keep plugging through, and I wanted to get the bird basically blocked in before I jumped into the background. Now, normally I do the background right away, like the thistle. but I felt like I needed to establish the actual bird because, I can always manipulate my values of my background based on what my subject matter looks like. So if I need a dark area around the head, I can make that thistle dark. If I need it to be lighter, I can make it lighter, depending on my actual subject matter. So I need to kind of get this guy in. So I'm working it in, and I'm using the ivory black to put the wings in, and that's the only black that I have on the palette. So I keep moving the wings out a little bit, and I can do all the highlights with some of the purples and other colors that we have on the wings. Now you can see his lower abdomen is being elongated too, again using that beautiful celadon color and a little bit of Italian green umber. And that's making, so you can feel the shape of that bird. And so we're elongating the wings a little bit, changing the rump, bringing the rump down, etc. Everything's moving along, and the bird is starting to take actual shape. I feel this bird. He's there. The fun color of thistle. Now, the pinks that I'm using here is basically the permanent magenta and the magenta, and using the dioxazine purple for some of the darker areas of the thistle flower. And since everybody knows I love playing with complementary colors, the purples near the yellow is really critical for me. And of course, I love blue and yellow together. So for me, this piece is a lot of fun. I love playing with color, and this is really scratching that itch. So now I'm just really trying to establish the overall the composition of the piece, and I kind of did that with the initial sketch, but I really needed some weight below, so I opted to fill this in quite a bit. Now I may be taking a bit of artistic license, because when I'm used to seeing thistle, they usually are growing tall and in a field, so they stand out above everything else, but I'm wanting to give this a base. So I've decided to darken everything here, and I'm going to go ahead and start cutting in some more thistle flowers, since, that's where all the color and the fun are, and creating more and more of the actual thistle foliage as well. So, and since this is nice and wet, and because this is a masonite panel, super smooth, I'll be able to cut my name in, my signature in, and I'll do that before the painting's actually even Now, thistle is a pretty sticky, prickery little plant, and so I needed to go ahead and get my little mahl stick just so I can lean against this and steady my hand while I do the detail in the actual thistle bloom. And it's almost like looking at a little porcupine. So it has little spines all in it. And I want to be able to still maintain the actual shape of the thistle. So you're going to see I actually play around with this quite a bit. And I wanted the light source that's capturing the actual prickers on the side of the bloom to see that. So you can see I'm using, if I can get my big hand out of the way, you can see I'm using a very fine sable brush. I think it's like a 1 sable, and I'm able to get in there and do the little points. And I kind of did a hatching there because that's what it looked like to me, and it seemed to be a very successful way of actually putting in the detail into the blossom here. But this is fun stuff. Love doing detail. and I'm obviously having so much fun putting detail in with that little brush. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm just hitting the thistles, and I'm really having fun with these colors. The magenta really is a fun color, and it looks so pretty with this little yellow bird. So I'm getting it in. I'm getting in all the detail and using that brush to the best of its ability. It's really doing a wonderful job. Again, it's unusual to see a rosemary brush that is not got a black handle, but this is one of Rosemary's. I believe I got this brush was also in my miniature kit, the workbench miniature set, which is an awesome set, folks. If you like to have some little brushes, and that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just getting in more detail, and you can see I highlighted some of the sticky areas of even the foliage, and I'm just playing, y'all. This is why painting is fun, when you get to play. And remember, it's okay to play. I think so many artists, especially new artists, put so much pressure on themselves to create a masterpiece every time. And playing is really, really important because you need to enjoy the ride. And you usually will learn something from each experience. So, folks, be sure to play with your paint just a little bit and enjoy the whole process. Know that this is actually going to be one of the pieces we're going to be doing in the next workshop. So if you're going to be attending my workshop, it wouldn't hurt to watch this a few times because this would be the piece you would be working on in the workshop. This and the indigo bunting with the tiger lilies. So if you're coming to my workshop or actually thinking about coming to the workshop, go ahead and check those videos out. And you'll get very familiar with the process, and we will basically be doing the exact same process in the workshop, but we'll be doing it together. Now we're back on the bird doing more detail. So you see that I just keep flip-flopping between the backspace or background and the foreground of the bird. And so as I'm moving over the bird, I am going to pick up and add a little bit of highlights over his crest, the dark part of his front of his face. And so I'm using a combination of, it's just a little bit of dioxazine purple and white into that brown. I actually took raw umber, and that's what I'm using to do the highlights on this black mask on this bird. And this is where I can do the detail and play, and this brush is doing an amazing job. You know, you quickly start to develop favorites with brushes, or at least I do. And I have, you know, my number 3 long filbert Eclipse brush is one of my favorites. And this little series, I'm sure it's a little sable, but this little brush is becoming a favorite too. And I'm just kind of going over the bill a little bit and over the top of his head, and just kind of getting in some more of the finer details. And you can see whenever I need to use white, I'm actually using kind of a pale blue. So I'm doing that little detail of the circle around the eye, and you know, where I can get in any of the little details. You can see me picking up the paint on the other side, and his little upper eyelid. And he's just looking like a little cute bird. we are morphing yet another time. So I'm actually bringing his lower part of his abdomen down just a little bit, giving him a little bit more tummy, which means I'll have to in turn give him a little bit more wing. So you can see how I'm moving. You'll see that I'm going to end up moving the wing down and moving the tail out. So we have to be consistent with the overall shape of this bird. So his rump area right here, I'm bringing it down. And I'm still using that Celadon raw umber and Italian green umber mixture. And it almost looks black. But that part, even though the bird's yellow, that's the shadow that is cast on the underside of this bird. So it creates the form. So you do have a sense of weight when you look at this bird by putting some dark values in. And so that's key here. So now I've got to actually elongate the wing. So where I had initially put the wing and the white, and that white you see is not actually paint on the wing. It's actually the surface without paint, the white surface. So it's no worries. I'm just going to change the wing shape and add some more white bars once I've gotten everything in there. So you can see, folks, I make mistakes all the time. And with oil paint, I think it's fairly easy to correct them when you need to. Okay, so where I took the bars off, I've got to put little wing bars back in. So I'm just using this little, this is an eclipse round, and I believe it's like a 0 or a 1. And I'm putting in the little wing bars here. And again, you can see it's not white paint. It's actually a very pale bluish gray that I'm popping down here. White is almost never white. So it's very unusual. Maybe in some water I use white, but I almost always blend my whites. I mean, unless it's in full sun, I just don't use just a solid white. So, and I'm kind of giving a little form to the rump area of the bird directly under the wing. You can see this little white area where it's kind of a rump. Again, I'm not really using white paint. It's more that gray. And we're just getting more and more and more of the bird in, and we're getting close, folks, I can tell. And so anytime I need to change the contrast, I had mentioned this earlier, once I get the bird in, if I have like a dark value where the rump is underneath, I need to put a lighter value next to it so that that rump stands out a little bit. So if I have something dark, I on the bird, like the tips of the wing, I'm going to go ahead and put a lighter green behind it, so that those little tips of the wings stand out. So that's why I go back and forth between my background and my foreground, or the subject matter, just so I can adjust my values when needed. So you can see I'm trying to bring out the shapes of the wings, so I'm putting that light value underneath the wingtips, and I'll go back and put some more black in the wingtips, and I'll go back and forth until, see, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm elongating the wingtips and actually taking advantage of the light values that I popped in there so you can see all the form. I'm pretty happy with the bird. I've got to go back into the background and put some detail where detail needs to go. So back to the thistle. And since the light seems to be hitting it, everything from it's actually, in my opinion, it's coming from the left upper corner of the painting, I guess, where the breast seems to be the lightest. I'm trying to put the light in on the tops of these flowers too. And wherever I think the light's going to hit the foliage, then you'll see I'll start to illuminate everything that needs to be lit up. And that's it. This is what I'm doing. I'm just going back in and putting in the last details and correcting value where value needs to be corrected and just playing with the color. This has been a load of fun. This makes me want to do another colorful piece. Anytime I do something like this, I'm like, I get so excited and I just want to do another one. But we're getting close, I can tell. And since it's all about small brush work now, I'm putting a lot of the detail that needs to go in to the flowers and the foliage, and then creating more negative space in between the foliage. So if I cut in a leaf, then I need to cut in around it. I'll go ahead and put a darker value, etc. I'll go back and forth between my negative and positive space in that foliage to create a very interesting background. bird feet. I think everybody knows how I feel about doing bird feet. I'm using my little paint scraper to kind of cut out some of the paint so that I can actually suggest where the little toes and the feet are going here. And so I'm just kind of cutting in the shapes here. And it's nice to be able to use a paint scraper for this kind of purpose. Since everything's pretty much wet here, I can really get in the shapes without really committing with paint and not messing things up. And since the feet are going to be kind of a pink, very similar to the color that I did the bill in, actually it's exactly the same color, I don't want that pink to blend with that green paint because then I just get brown feet. So I want to keep it as clean as I can keep it. So that means when I'm actually doing the application of the paint, like you see here, I have to use a very light hand. I am not putting a lot of direct pressure. You barely will see, and that's a little brush, by the way, folks. You barely see those fibers on that brush bend. That's why I'm using a light hand, because I do not want the paint to blend, because I do not want to have muddy brown little toes. So keep a light hand, folks. That means less pressure on the brush. And I'm just kind of popping in the feet now. And there's a lot of dark values that will go into this. And I'll use more like a burnt sienna with maybe even a little bit of black in between the toes and to create the darker values in the bird's feet. going over the bird one last time just to make sure that I've gotten the details that need to go in. And again, the darker yellow here is a combination of yellow lake and yellow ochre. And the lighter is cad yellow light with titanium white. And that's pretty much the colors that I use to do this little male goldfinch, except I guess the underneath part, again, I used the green, which was the celadon green with a little bit of raw umber and Italian green umber. But yeah, I'm pretty much feeling like I'm wrapping it up. I like how this bird feels. He's got some weight now, and being that this is a 9x12 painting, you know, it's just enough weight for the size of the painting. And yeah, the bird feels good to me now. And now you'll see towards the end of a painting, I tend to get a little bit more impasto. Saving all the chunky stuff for last. And that's what I'm doing now. Just kind of putting in the feathers, and we're about to wrap it up. light value here, a little dark value there, and we are about to wrap this painting up. This has been fun. Remember, folks, if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave them in the comment section and I'll get to you. And here's another look. This is the finished piece. I'm just kind of taking you in a little closer so you can see how I manipulated the dark values in the background and the fun, colorful detail that you see in the flowers and the bird, which just kind of sets a painting off nicely. I had fun.
Wasn't that fun and colorful? I wanted to show you the piece again. Here it is. I'm trying to keep the glare off of it because I get a lot of glare on this, but you can see that there's a lot of fun detail. The thistle, you know, you think of a thistle, if you've ever stepped on a thistle, you know it, right? It is a prickly little plant, but it is actually very beautiful. And the goldfinch loves the seeds of the thistle. And so, you know, I was able to play with a lot of the complementary colors, and that's always fun for me. So, you know, again, if you have any questions about anything I covered in today's video, you go ahead and let me know. Just leave it in the comments section below and I'll get to you. And if you are considering becoming a member on my YouTube channel, I'd so appreciate that. In the membership program, I can mentor you. If you, especially on the highest tier, I can do critiques of your work, help you along, suggest colors, all that good stuff. Go ahead and check that out. And I also have a Patreon channel, so check that out as well. So from Kingsport, Tennessee, I want to say thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.